Good day to all of you. Welcome to the middle of the week. And we continue with our psalm meditations and reflections and quiet silence. Here in the middle of the week, when Wednesday is kind of like the support on two sides of the week, Sunday to Sunday, we need something in the middle to support. And how better than that to take a psalm that bridges Sunday to Sunday, bridges the Hebrew scriptures with the New Testament, and forms a background for multi-religious expression. The Psalms are revered by Muslims, by Jews, by Christians, by anybody that wants to just listen in on the power of these words. They're kind of like the bedrock, if you will, out of which we can branch out to express many other ways. So let's continue as we usually do to become quiet. The center of the week, the center of your body. Relax. Become centered. Become still. Descend into your being. Feel, if you're quiet enough, the pulse of your life. Feel the rhythmic movement of your breathing. Relax. You're in God's presence. It is well with your soul. You take a few moments in the quiet, perhaps with eyes closed as I'm going to do, for some moments of stillness and silence, so that from the silence, the Word of God can speak to us. Lord God, we offer you this quarter hour, thanking you for all of the blessings of each hour that you give to us. We ask that your Spirit would be with us in the words that I will share, in the Spirit that gives life to our bodies. So I share with you the fire starter that I've prepared for families with children, that they might be able to enter into the overall look at this psalm. At this point, not commentary. I am going to be reflecting on a wonderful commentary, two of them as a matter of fact. But for now, we're just going to let ourselves listen to this introduction, this imaginistic orientation. This psalm that's filled with images of heavenly wonder can become a quiet and simple prayer for you. The doors of your hearts are as the doors of heaven. Heaven is within the heart of anyone who quietly adores and gives reverence to God. The psalm tells us all that we need: clean hands and a pure heart. Jesus' hands and heart were opened for you on the cross and are now open in the season of Pentecost. The gift of Jesus' death and resurrection has meant that the Spirit of God lives inside you. That's heaven. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and its inhabitants too. Because God is the one who established it on the seas. God set it firmly on the waters. Who can ascend the Lord's mountain? Who can stand in his holy sanctuary? Only the one with clean hands and a pure heart. the one who hasn't made false promises, the one who hasn't sworn dishonestly. That kind of person receives blessings from the Lord and righteousness from the God who saves. And that's how things are with the generation that seeks him, that seeks the face of Jacob's God. Mighty gates, lift up your heads. Ancient doors, rise up high, so the glorious King can enter. Who is this glorious King? The Lord, strong and powerful. The Lord, powerful in battle. Mighty gates, lift up your heads. Ancient doors, rise up high, so the glorious King can enter. Who is this glorious King? The Lord of heavenly forces. He is the glorious King. It would seem that this psalm has got something to do with worship, with bringing the Ark of the Covenant into the tabernacle. So it's a fitting one for us to play with the word Ark of the Covenant. In the Ark is the presence, and that presence is brought into the temple. One of the devotions to Mary in a litany to her in some early traditions calls her the Ark of the Covenant, meaning she was the place, the receptacle for the presence of God in the Incarnation. And all the gifts that Mary expressed when she said, "Yes, behold the handmaid of the Lord, be it done unto me according to your word." All of those gifts give us the energy to have Mary's gift become ours. So, you are the Ark of the Covenant. You are the presence of God, way, way down deep in your soul. I'd like to share with you, and I've referenced Matthew Henry as someone who has a devotional commentary from the 17th century, revered by thousands and thousands of pastors over the centuries. And he writes this: "Wherever a child of God goes, he may comfort himself with this, that he does not go off his father's ground." Lovely way of saying the earth is the Lord's, so there's no place that we can get off. Even if we're in a space capsule, we're still rooted to the earth. They're not going to be up there for a very long time compared to the need to go back to the earth. He also says, Matthew Henry, we may apply this to God's entrance into the souls of people by his word and spirit, that they may be his temples. Christ's presence in them is like that of the ark in the temple. It sanctifies them. Behold, he stands at the door and knocks, Revelations 3:20. You know that famous picture of Jesus knocking on the door, asking for entrance? No doorknob, because we need to open for him. And Matthew Henry continues, it is required that the gates and doors of the heart be opened to him. Not only as admission is given to a guest, but as possession is delivered to the rightful owner. And brothers and sisters, we don't belong to ourselves. We do not have a right to say, this is me. We belong to God. It's God has created us from the most infinitesimal molecules when we were embryos in our mother's womb and unfolding outward, as another beautiful Psalm 139 expresses. It's a beautiful way of expressing it. Now, I'm indebted to also another commentary. It's called the New Interpreter's Bible Commentary on the Psalms. And the commentator, J. Clinton McCann Jr., has wonderful ways of expressing. And he reminds us, and through other commentators that he references, of the similarity between Psalm 24 and the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Who can be in God's presence? The one with clean hands and a pure heart. So when we look at it, it would be good for us to take a look after this meditation is over. Take a look at the Beatitudes and compare it. Put it right next to Psalm 24. It's a perfect example of how a psalm radiates out into the New Testament. It's foundational, and it further provides a ground out of which the flowers, if you will, excuse me, the flowers of the New Testament can emerge. And in Acts 17:6, there's a wonderful expression of when the early Christians were dragged before governors and all the problems that they had. And he writes in that Acts 17:6, when they could not find them, the other Christians, they dragged Jason and some believers before the city authorities, shouting, "These people who have been turning the world upside down have come here also." So disciples of Jesus, those that allow the presence of the Spirit to flow inside us and out, we can turn the world upside down. I'm going to excuse myself for a second because our dear friend, no, I'm not, because she's going to bark outside. We're going to just let her be. She wants to go outside, but she barks at the neighbors, so pardon the interruption. When we allow ourselves to be fully Christian, it means that we turn the world upside down. Now, the world, you might say, is already being turned upside down because of all that's going on. But it's the Word of God that can flip it back to be right side up. So when something is turned upside down and we turn it upside down again, it stands upright. And there we are in the center of this wonderful space that we're in. I'd like to close with another final expression that J. Clinton McCann does at the end of his commentary. What's wonderful about this commentary is commentary, but also each of the authors offer reflections. And he writes, "For those who see the world first and foremost as the sphere of God's reign, every human activity and ethical decision, personal, political, ecological, and otherwise, will be grounded in and result from unreserved trust in God and the desire to embody God's loving, life-giving purposes for the world and all who live in it," from verse 1 of our psalm today. Thank you for joining with us. We're going to be finding this. I'm going to put a link on Facebook, but you'll find the copy of this in YouTube. So come and visit it and maybe join with us tomorrow evening for our Bible study at 7 through Zoom. And then the following week, we're going to begin our Bible study on Wednesday nights at 7 so that you can take a look at the video, perhaps in midday, and let that be kind of a running start as we gather as God's people to share in the power and beauty of this psalm and how it can uplift us in the midst of this day and this week. God bless you. God's peace be with you. And I pray that each of you, with your families, with your friends, may find the wonderful grace and peace of God illumining your day. Amen.